So the Maisa, these are the biggest shilas in Chazar. We spoke yesterday with the whole Amdis, Rabbi Kiveger, Shach, the Sugya in general, big Yisaidist. You never return a Chuvas Rabbi Kiveger, no matter what. That means even if you have nine volumes, you never would have thought of such a thing. Then we saw other things. Maisa, I'm not going to chazer the digression. Dovi, it was clear, the whole digression of Rabbi Kiveger? Yeah, it was clear. So that part I'm not going to chazer. But I'm going to chazer the halacha that we came out because it's a lot of cases and it's extremely negeya Maisa. It's not the most negeya Tikazachin. So first I'll go back into just the lumdus a little bit and maybe we'll be Maisif Nekudas, maybe Nekuda Midilei will be Maisif, one Nekuda. And then Bez Hashem, but just to be clarify, each case by case, what's the Maisa, what comes out. And it's true, Maisa, 90% of the cases are anyways going to be mutter because we have the tziruf of the Ran. And therefore, all these svaras are only Maisif to the Ran. So the only cases that are really problematic are the cases when you don't have the tziruf of the Ran, but it's important to know the sugya and other things that come up. So like this, if I had to start the shiur, I would say, which I do have to start the shiur. So if I'd have to start the shiur, I'd say, listen, the Maisa, everything that we're talking about, bain from the Ran, bain from these svaras that we're going to say, if it's called daito lahachzir, if it's called daito biyadai, in all these cases where the fire goes off, where you forgot to plug it in any case, right? You took off the wrong soup. The best avad is you have a guy, you use a guy. That's done before we begin. All these svaras are svaras. If you have a guy, it's mutal chatchila to any of the svaras that we're going to say. The guy can be saying the guy holds of Rabbi Kiveger. So no matter what, if you have a guy, you have a guy. So somebody asked me about 2 months ago a shaila, and there was a shtickle shaila. Maybe I'll tell you which case it was. And I told him, no, I dare cotton, you can be makel. So the mice of the cotton came to me. He davens in the minyan that I daven in. It's like an outside minyan. So he came to me and he said to me, he wants to know why am I the Shabbos guy? That's what he asked me. He wants to know why am I the Shabbos guy? My father came home and he said that I have to put the case. His case was they forgot to plug it in. So he wanted to take the cholent and put it, let's say, on a neighbor's hot plate. I don't remember the exact case, but let's say that was the case. Okay, I remember it was something about not plugging in. Something that was the case. They wanted to take the cholent. So I told them they should do it ayidei cotton. So he told me, so for actually two times. One time he said was, I'm a mufla samach leish. The first time I said I'm 12 years old, right? And that's first of all. So he says that, the whole cotton, meaning I'm not just a bar chinuch. I'm a mufla samach leish, and my nidar, my neder, whatever, and my chayrims are charamim. So that's first of all. And second of all, what am I? I'm the Shabbos guy. So I told him, that's not a taina. That's not a taina. Because the Maisa, the Rama says in many places, what? That what? We'll see. In many cases, the Rama says that whenever you have a chumrah, a shita we're machmer on, a cotton doesn't have to be machmer. Now he's obviously talking about a bar chinuch, because if it's not a bar chinuch, so then there's no isser. So you're obviously talking about a bar chinuch, and whenever you have shitas that we're make or din, we're make alike, so then a cotton doesn't have to have the chumras. So I told him that's the kasha. So the Ran is, in that case, I don't remember if we didn't have the Ran. Let's see if we didn't have the Ran. But let's say we didn't have the Ran, or we did have the Ran, but we had one of the other svaras. So that which we're being machmer, there's a chumrah. Child could be saying on a das yachid even. I don't mean it's a das yachid that there's no makor or something. But that's first of all, that if you have a cotton, it's better to do al yidei cotton. A comment that there's a shita mekubeles that's makel. It's a sheet. It's a svar. I probably would have makel al yidei's father also, whatever the case was. So al yidei cotton is for sure. The cotton doesn't have to be machmer. Number one, but number two, because he was a little bit of a chacham, this cotton. Right? So Eber Chacham, they start telling you I'm mufla samach leish and everything. So I told him I'm mufla samach leish. I told him no. And what about the Rashba? What about the Rashba? What's Rashba? I told him the Rashba in Yevamos and Kafitah, but you don't even know that. What about the Rashba? Maisa, if you don't know the Rashba, because that's hard for you to know. So in the Ramah in Shulchan Aruch and Simin Shin Mem Gimel, there the sugya of Safin and Biyadayim, and Rabbi Kiveger brings up there, if a child does something, an Isser D'Rabbanan for himself. If you're Safina, you give a child an Isser D'Rabbanan that he's doing for himself for the benefit of the cotton, for the benefit of the cotton. So then we're Meiko. Then we're Meiko. The Rashb's cheat is not so ice gehalten. In other words, it comes out from the Rashba. There's no din chinuch on a D'Rabbanan on a cotton when the cotton is doing it for himself. Okay. So I asked the child like this. The guy got him. I said to him, "No, Yingal, are you going to eat from the cholent?" He said, "Yeah." he got all excited. Like, yeah, I'm also going to eat from the chalent. Mainly he thought that if I'm just a guy and I'm not eating from the chalent, but I'm eating from the chalent. So as I was saying, if you're eating from the chalent, so then anyways, you have the rashba. What's the rashba? That when a katan does something in Issa D'Rabbanan for himself, so the guy governor, we don't answer. When a katan is doing something for himself, if it's an Issa D'Rabbanan, we hear the only question that we're dealing with is an Issa D'Rabbanan. Plus we have svaras. Okay, so that's number two. Number one is you have a guy, halvai. Number two is if it's ben hashmashis. No, Rabbi said, let's say we're in the middle of Ben Ishmashis and we have these shilas. Again, I'm not dealing with Bishul Deraisa, obviously. We're dealing with, So then, anyways, Ben Ishmashis is a little bit more kuladik. Okay, if you weren't Makabel Shabbos, for sure it's more kuladik because the Gazer Shus and Ben Ishmashis. Okay, so that you have to keep these things in mind. If you have a guy, if you have a katan, if it's Ben Ishmashis, all these things are before we get to the shilah. The shilas we're going to talk about today are when, it's already Shabbos and you don't have a guy and you don't have a katan. And now what? These as far as that we could be makel on the chatchila. And even in the case of maybe where we don't have the ram. That's to put into perspective. In other words, before we start donning any shiloh, remember there's a lot of factors before we get to the shiloh. Yes, Rabbi Sam.
Even though these sheep that they're able to follow upon, is it better to ask a younger person who doesn't have that andasha?
Like a 14-year-old? Well, of course it's better a cotton.
Is it better a younger cotton?
That could be. Yeah, those kinds of that could be. So, but I don't know if you want to, you can give a heavy cholent pot, which is very hot. You don't know maybe what cholent is. Cholent's like big and heavy and hot and whatever. And you give it to like a little 8-year-old bingo, right? So I don't know. Maybe because girls mature faster, so Maidel maybe it's different. I don't know. But Akopanim, I don't know. But yeah, maybe he's right. Maybe Taka. Maybe Nechanami, If it's a younger cotton, then yeah. That's my son asked me today. My 12-year-old is becoming bar mitzvah in a couple of weeks. So you're all not invited. But Akapanim, I'm not invited. Nobody's invited. So he asked me today, is he allowed to eat before davening? So I told him, like a cotton doesn't have the halachas really, right? Like you're not even a mufla samach li'ish. You're like an ish samach l'mufla. You're like very close already. So at this point already, you have to start being mechanich for the exact halacha of how you can mechanich when it comes to bar mitzvah. There comes a point of where, understand what I'm saying. It's already too nice. I told him I'm affected to showing treif. You shouldn't have asked, but now that you asked, it's already a problem. So l'chayra. That's he told me Murder Kazach. He told me that he never had a yetzer really to eat before davening. That point today, when I told it to him, he told me that the mamish, now all of a sudden he's very hungry. He asked me this question like 6 o'clock in the morning, at like 6:30. He said, I'm really hungry now. It's mamish Murder Kazach. Once it's taken away, it's interesting. There are more guys in the Kallus today than ever before. Why? Because there's a seder. The same lumdus, the same type of lumdus. So that's number 2. Number 3 is that we're going to see, you do know, you don't know, but that's going to be a stira, Siv Gimel, Siv Hey. You know that there's a heter to put things on top of a cholent pot which is on the fire. And you know that there's some heter out there of putting an upside down pan on even a blech and putting things from the fridge straight on. So whether or not that's mutter or it's not, it exists. There's no question. If you can do that, also do that. The Sachakol, the fire went out, and it's Friday night. I tell you, the fire went out, it's Friday night. What does he have on the fire, Sachakol? He has a chicken soup and just the Friday night food. And he's eating it an hour. For that, I don't know if he has to be saying on this when, the chicken soup, he can just take off right away and then go and eat the chicken soup. And the chicken is going to stay hot. You put it on top of let's say you have a cholent and a crack pot or something, and you'll put it over there. No, and it'll stay hot. I don't know if it's kedai to get into the whole shiloh. Again, I'm just showing you before we begin. These are big shilohs, and even if I'm going to say coolest today, but I did mine. I have to make a disclaimer before we begin that versteht sich if you have the ran, it's a different shiloh. Versteht sich if you have a guy, it's a guy. If you have a cotton, it's a cotton. If you have a younger cotton, it's even better. If you have an upside down pot, also, right? All these things, before getting into the shiloh, maybe you don't have any shiloh. Depends on what. Depends on what. He's right. And it's every factor you have to start adding. Rabbi says, myself, I have the ran and a lot of good svaras and whatever. Do I have to still try to? Okay, it could be. I'm just saying, I want you to have these factors when you'll have the shiloh. Maybe afterward we'll say halachah ma'isa, case. But if you can get out of it, sometimes it's not worth asking the shiloh. Sometimes it's not worth asking the shiloh, right? So somebody knocked the reason I'm thinking is somebody knocked him about a year ago, right? And Sachakol, the fire went off, and it was late. It was like 11 o'clock at night or something. So the hot plate went off. The electricity of the hot plate went off, whatever it was, right? So I asked him, "What's Brenzach? What do you have? Do you have the chalent, right?" He said, "No, the chalent is in the crack pot." Because you need to know what the shaila is. Sometimes there's a chamer shayla. He says, "No, the chalent's in a crack pot. That didn't go off." So what do you have there? No, he has like an overnight kogo. And it's like nice and geschmack. It's like overnight, the whole night, and it's whatever, So like it's for overnight kugel. Maybe just I said, what would happen if we put it on top of the chalent? It would stay hot. Would it go off? He says, not so bad. Not so okay. So you have to be makel for an overnight chalent. Maybe for some people, overnight chalent is more important than their wife. It's not my business. Okay, not my business, right? When I look at people, doesn't mean it's okay. Now that's number. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3. Now let's start. So then I'm going to start over. Let's go into this without Negias. I think you saw yesterday I have Negias. Rabbi Kiveger. Negias. My Negias, Rabbi Kiveger. But Rav Shach Negias was Rabbi Kiveger. But let's go into this without any Negias and try to figure out Lamaisa and then go to the halacha Lamaisa. It's such a negative gazach, and that's why I'm being miraculous on this. I find it very important. So first of all, the fire goes off. What's the din? Can I consider this again? Let's start over. Okay, without Negias. Can I consider this to be daita lachzor? My fire goes off. Now, I want to know, can I take the chalent pot when the fire goes off and put it onto a different fire? The fire goes off, I have, is that called daita lachzor? Again, misvara, lemaisa, nachalz misvara. If you learn Hilchot Tzitzis and you learn Hilchot Tefillin, you're going to come out with the pashtis that when you need to continue a certain mitzias, so then you need a positive das. Like we find by talus, if the talus fell on the floor, that's mefurish, that lemaisa, you make a new bracha. Now, I say it's mefurish, it's a lach of aloy lemaisa, because there are other poskim that say if you're wearing tzitzis, maybe not. But there's definitely clear in halacha that's the pashtis, that if the talus falls off, you have to make a new bracha. Why? He didn't have das removal. So you see, the pashtus says you need a positive das bringing you back to the previous matziv. That's the pashtus. So that you have to have. Let's hold off on child because right now I'm chazering. I'm sorry about that. You have to have a positive das bringing you back to the fire. That's the first thing. And therefore, if the tefillin go out of place without new svaras, for example, somebody's learning after davening. I should have asked for Mashiach. Today I was learning after davening in my tefillin. It's after Corona. A lot of times I do it now because I go to my house and I'm coming straight from the davening. I don't like taking my tefillin off there, and I just like doing it in my house. So I sit there and I learn after davening. And mamish happened today. Mamish happened today. I was sitting and learning after davening in my house. It was about 8:30 when I came in, and at like about 9 o'clock, I realized my tefillin were like over here somewhere. I got really into the sugi, right? But the tefillin were mamish over here, right? And I made another bracha. I don't remember ever doing it before. It's a funny thing. You should have asked for Mashiach. But Taka last night I gave a shiur about Mashiach. Let's see what happens. But Taka told the Gemara that the tefillin were over here. It was after davening, so you don't have the svaras anymore, and it's called daitoi. That you don't have a das positive to be machzir. So that's nafalat halas. That's nafalat tefillin, and therefore the bracha, the halacha is that you make another bracha. It's like the first time I think I ever did it. But akapanim. So that's the chayra. And the chayra the fida. So you come out that if a person takes a chalent pot off by mistake, he takes off the chalent pot, he thinks it's a chicken soup, or the fire goes off. So in these cases, he definitely doesn't have a positive das putting it back on. And therefore, the pashtus it's not called daita lahachs. It's the pashtus. Before we begin, we don't say halach l'maisa, but that certainly is the pashtus. Okay, now, the maisa, what are the svaras to play with? Grady, yesterday I said the Shvus Yitzchak is in page 164. It's in page 174. So what are the svaras that we can play with? Let's at least work like that, right? So the svaras that we can start to play with is like I just mentioned, that during davening, it's not like that, right? What we find by talis and by tefillin during davening, we say, and that's the halacha l'maisa of the Mishnah Berurah, that's of course the psak, that if a person is wearing tefillin, talis, and I'm sure it happened to the item today, but he's wearing his tefillin in the middle of davening and they move out of place. So then the halacha is that kivyachol, there was a das that was placed there, and that das continues. It's a moed v'chazor kai. That we'll coin a phrase. Moed v'chazor. It's there. It's on its way back always. You place the original das that the tefillin should be there, and it's an umdinitik das. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's a das that during tefillah I wanted to be there the whole entire time. I just can't think about it. So that's a constant das. Kivyachol. That's a svar. So maybe we could play with the same svar over here by a fire. I could say that my das is a continuous das. Right? My das. Now, the Maisa, of course, there's a makom to be machalik. There's a makom to be machalik because the Maisa, when I put on my talis and I put on my tefillin, okay, so the Maisa, I'll say it even stronger. Talis and tefillin are things that move around. A tefillin is a thing that taka moves around. So therefore, it's a very normal thing that a person, when he puts it there, it's his das to constantly, and he's constantly checking and everything. So you see, it's his das. It's like it's takar a das that's constant. When I put something on a fire, I don't have any reason that I should place my das there. I put it on the fire, and that's what I did. Well, why should we consider this to be a das that my das continues? You have to remember what's the pashas. I want the oilam to realize today. Sometimes you hear these svaras and you become fakoif. You're hearing chidushin. You shouldn't think you're not hearing chidushin. You're hearing chidushin. The pashas is the person puts a cholent on a fire and he doesn't have any das. It's just there on the fire and that's it. It remains on the fire and it's there until it comes off. And once it comes off, boom, you have to start over again and you have to have a daita lax or positive. That's the pashas. But these are the svaras that one can play with, right? Now, that svara yesterday, Rav Elyashiv, Rav Elyashiv used that svara to explain Rabbi Akiva Eiger. Rav Elyashiv used that to explain the king. That all that Rabbi Akiva Eiger was saying. Now let me clarify Rabbi Akiva Eiger for a moment. Rabbi Akiva Eiger says, if I take a cholent pot of yours off, I go over to Rabbi Lieberman's house, like, take his cholent pot, put it on the floor, right? So then that's usher. Rabbi Akiva Eiger says, you can't put it back. Oh, Ron, whatever. But that's usher. Why? Because that we're not going to say, the moister davar sheni shaloi, because there you did a maisa. The Imam put it on the karka. I want to clarify. Yesterday I was more into explaining what we were using Rabbi Akiva Eiger for. So there I put it on the karka, so that's going to be a problem. But says the Goyin Rabbi Akiva Eiger but what if I didn't? I come over to Rabbi Lieberman and I say, you're starting with the wrong guy. And I take off his trouble. Now I'm holding it in hand. Right? So now what? Right? So he quickly grabs it from me and he puts it back on. Okay? Rabbi Akiva Eiger would tell you that's a fight. That's a fight because do we say because there we don't have the mice of karka. The Mishabura says it's totally the machlekes rishayim. You get the gist from the Shabura. There's a makom to be mekel because it's machlekes rishayim. It's not so clear, God. Even this isn't so clear. But there's a makom to be mekel and it's totally in the shayla ve'no the mice of davashen shaloi like we saw yesterday. Now comes again Rabbeinu Agadol Rabbi Elyashiv, and he explains the svara that we just said is enough that I can consider it a moed v'chazor koi, that my das is there only in as much, says Rabbi Elyashiv, to fight the das of somebody else. Listen closely, okay? I have my das that I want my cholent to be here constantly until I take it off willingly, say it like that. My das is to put it there until I come to take it off. So that says Rabbi Elyashiv. If you would hold Adam Oyser Davar Shein Shalai, and whatever the reason why over here you'd hold other moiser davar, so then his das would counteract my das. But if you hold another moiser davar sheni shaloi, so then my das continues and overpowers your das. That's the case that lemaisa halacha lemaisa you could be makel on. If somebody is evil and he comes over to your cholent, that's the case that we know is clear. I come over, or he's not an evil person, he just does it without rishus. We'll make that case for a second. The other one was asking me yesterday about cases. I think you, Rabbi Zinger, right? You guys are asking cases. We'll see in a moment. But in this case of Rabbi Akiva Eiger, that is the psak of Rabbi Akiva Eiger, and that's the psak halacha l'maisa. That if somebody else does it, there's a makom to be mekel because it's totally in the shayla ve'no. If he comes and takes off the cholent, those yeshiva bachrim at night that took off the cholent and didn't have a shus or whatever, they're holding it in their hand, not on the karka, they're holding it in their hand. So now, are they allowed to go and put it back onto the fire? There's a tzad for sure that they're allowed to. Plus, we have the ran, so b'mela they're allowed to put it back onto the fire. Why? Because the das of my original das is amoid v'chazor, which is a chiddush, overpowers their das. Crystal clear? Come again? In the case of where it's told in a meiser, because machlekes rishayim. So I would say it's machlekes rishayim. As a makom mekel because child drabanan plus you have the ran and whatever. So that's what Rabbi Akiva Eiger is coming to say. So Rabbi Akiva Eiger brings it as it's sad. It's clear. Rabbi Akiva Eiger wanted you to know this. It's not that there's a makom to be mekel. I'll say it like that. Rabbi Akiva Eiger, I think, is not in the print that the Olam has in the Shulchan Aruch. It's only the nuance or whatever. So Mela does, but you see, so he says he sounds like I'm saying probably. Pirlocha just ends like Tzarchin or something. It's not a little bit hard to know what he wants. But okay, that's a nice. Now says Rabbi Elyashiv. Now, if I say, I forgot to say in the beginning of the year, it's ain't based medrash for Chiddush. You better listen well, because I'm adding a lot. I'm sorry. Do I have to start over or no? When you have 9 Rabbi Akiva Eigers, okay, let me go back. So now listen closely. Let's go. Comes again Rabbi Yashiv, and he's medayik something in Rabbi Kiva Eger. That's why I see. I looked it up last night. I couldn't find it on page 164. So he's medayik something in Rabbi Kiva Eger, which is emes hadiyik. It's emes hadiyik. He's medayik Rabbi Kiva Eger that it's only in a case of where someone else. The what we said, it's all going to stem. It's only in a case of where somebody else comes to take off the chalent. Right? When I go over to Rabbi Lieberman's chalent and I take off the chalent without rishos, so then we're going to toilet this on the amoid v'chazar. Says Rabbi Yashiv. He says, but according to Rabbi Kiva Eger, what would happen if I took off my chalent? I took off my own chalent without rishus. What do I mean? I took off my own chalent without rishus. Dainu, I made a mistake. Right? Says Rabbi Yashiv. Now for sure not. Now for sure not. Even Rabbi Kiva Eger will agree. Even Rabbi Kiva Eger, even Rabbi Eger from Gins will agree. And maybe even Friedland. Right? Even he'll agree. Why? Because says Rabbi Yashiv, here, the only thing you could say is Amoid v'chazor, my das is there, Amoid v'chazor, it's always constantly there until I take it off. So Elamai, now you want to say, but he made a mistake and he didn't mean to take it off. That already is, we have no makor for such a thing. Well, one moment, now we have no makor for such a thing. Rabbi Kiva Eger was only talking about, does my das have the ability to counter out yours? I win. But does my das have the ability to counter my das? No. I have no rayas, says Rabbi Yashiv. And therefore he says that even Rabbi Kiva, so therefore, in the case of where a person accidentally took off the chalent and it was turned out to be a chalent and he thought it was chicken soup. So in that case, says Rabbi Kiva Eger, we don't have the sort of amoid v'chazor kai. That's level 2. That's level 2 that even Rabbi Kiva Eger will not agree in this case. And therefore you'd have to be machmer in this case because it's even Rabbi Kiva Eger agrees you need a positive das la'achzir. That's case number 2. Now, Lemaisa, okay. Now Azay. Come again? No, so now what during davening, what would happen? What happened? A person's just like totally not thinking, right? A good example, you know, he's after Shemoneh Esrei, right? And he thinks like, you know, during Chazar Sachatz, why did Hashem make Chazar Sachatz? He made a Chazar Sachatz so that that's the time to take off my tefillin. Yeah, and that was, he had this dreadful, terrible anhaga, and he would just take off his tefillin and he would leave davening early, and that was the time that he would do that, right? And then he totally forgot, a few days ago, he did tshuva. He totally forgot. He realized, why is Hashem taking us out of the base of Midrashim and everything? It must be because of me. Like Yaina Navi's on a boat. He's on a boat with the lowest lowlifes in the hill street of the world. Right? These are like, Rabbi side. These were idol worshippers. You know, idol worshippers, Rabbi side, they were human sacrifice individuals, these guys over here, right? These aren't normal people. We're talking about people that, you know, and there he is. The boat is going back, forth, up, down. Yaina Navi. There's Rabbi Yashiv on the boat. Yeah, it's because of me. Because of me. Maybe it's for the guy from San Francisco. Man, what shaykh is you, Yaina? Maybe it's not Yaina. Yaina, what did you do? Look at this guy over here, right? He's married to his father. I mean, you know, and he just killed his son. You know, maybe it's not you. No, Dr. Briskerov, Yaina Navi says it's all because of me. So this guy comes, he says, Taka, maybe the whole entire corona is because of me. So he decided, that's it. I'm not taking my tefillin off anymore during Chazar Sashatz. That's it. You know, I'm staying till the end of davening. Okay, but he's got this dreadful anoga he's been doing for the last 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is, you know. So then without even realizing it, there he is, he's taking off the tefillin, right? So then he realizes he made a mistake and he took off his tefillin. So now he wants, and there's no das. What's that? It's no das. He's just taking off his das, right? Did he have a positive das to put it back? He's in the middle of davening and everything. No, you don't have the amoid v'chazor kai. So in such a case, 100% he has to make a bracha on the tefillin. It's not a shayla in the world. 100%, not a shayla in the veld. He took off the tefillin. It's not a shayla in the veld, right? A person goes over to the chalent pot. Just give me a moment before shaylas because I want to make sure the seder is wrong. Because yesterday was a lot of shittas. I want to make sure it's clear. A person goes over to the chalent pot and he takes it off. Sometimes we do things that boys say, "Mekenish fagin favos." Man, you don't even know why. Why did you take off the chalent? You know, let's say a guy, he was sleepwalking and he took off the chalent pot, right? You can relate. No, it happens. He takes, you know, during bidud, Rabbi said for 13 days, I mean, you do things like this, you know. He goes over the chalent pot, he takes off the chalent pot. Why'd you do that? Talk is strange. So what's the halacha? Could you say over there, amoid v'chazor kai? I mean, I don't say avadana because we'll see in a minute, maybe somebody says, yeah. But at least at this level, Rabbi Yashiv said avadana. And Rabbi Kiva Eger, Rabbi Yashiv learns, is also going to say avadana. Because now your das is gone. Your das is there, amoid v'chazor, until you take it off. So you can start saying umdinas until I take it off and I know what I'm doing. That's already pushing it. That's Rabbi Yashiv was not willing to say. Excuse me, what? That we're going to talk about. That has to do if it's still hot, and that we'll see. That we have to do. Computer, if it's still hot, you can keep there for 3 hours. Yeah. That's a whole shiloh what the exact time is, because 2 hours or 3 hours and whatever. Here, okay, it's true. If he's holding the cholent pot for 3 hours and he wants to know, can he still put it back, right? So then, he's probably a dangerous person. I'm not sure if it's such a common case, but yes, maybe Taka, there'll be a time limit. We don't find the time limit, but theoretically. Now, is Rabbi say, as I say, kum to gain goin agadol rishleim zalman orbach in Shmir Shabbos Aleph and Orah Samach Tes. This is a new shita which went to the next level. Rav Shlomo Zalman, Rav Shlomo Zalman went to the next level of this svara. And Rav Shlomo Zalman, now I want to tell you what I see inside Rav Shlomo Zalman. I yesterday the way I said it was Rav Shlomo Zalman took this svara and extended it. I'm not 100% sure. It could be Rav Shlomo Zalman saying a different svara, and I have two possible different svaras actually. And yesterday the way I said it was that Rosh Hashanah, there's a few Rosh Hashanah. We'll see soon all the Makayers, but I don't want to go out of my order. There's one in the Mincha Shleima here, Cheli Beis, Lamed Daled Zayin. There's another Shmir Shabbos in Ha'ara Ayin Hey. There's a few Rosh Hashanah over here about this. And so yesterday, the way I said it, the way I understood from one of the Rosh Hashanah is that he went to the next level. He said, no, your das is there constantly. So much so that even if it's a mistake, and even if it's somebody else, and even if it's, even if it fell on the floor, now that's a tremendous chiddush. It bothered me that. I don't know if you noticed yesterday, it bothered me to say that. That's a tremendous chiddush because by tefillin, it's certainly not like that. By Kallus, it's certainly not that. But so really, so Shlomo Zalman's going to learn that, it's like the idea of Shas Tefillah. That's how I explained it yesterday a little bit. Right, I think you explained it like that, right? That's like Shas Tefillah. And the idea is that Shas Tefillah, I put my das in, so we'll call not Shas Tefillah, we'll call Shas food, So until I actually eat it, okay, it's a chiddush, because then why shouldn't that das overpower even, it should be Megalim Afrei when I took it off and I didn't plan on putting it back, and I first didn't plan on putting it back. So why don't we say he made a mistake? Okay, so you say no, until the point of where I willingly take it. Okay, like that was one way how I said it yesterday, according to that. So then if the fire goes out, if I take off the wrong chicken, the wrong pot, in all these cases, my das from before is going to be goiver and knock out any mistaken das or anybody else's das, okay? That's how I said it yesterday from Shlomo Zalman. The only thing is that I saw Shlomo Zalman, I'm not sure if he's saying that, because he gives a mashal. And his mashal doesn't stem with what I'm saying. I think he's saying a different svara. And then I saw in Mincha Shleim, I think he's saying a totally different svara. But all of them are possible svaras, so that's why I'm going to mention them. Shlomo Zalman has a svara that he seems to say that he says, what would happen if I took the pot off of the fire? The cholent pot I took off the fire. And I plan on putting it back, and it's in my hand. It's in my hand, right? And now the fire goes out. That's what Shlomo Zalman's mashal. He says, now the fire goes out. Am I allowed to go and take it and put it onto a different fire? The answer is 100% yes. 100% yes. Nobody ever argued on that in the world. Okay? It's got him a first Mishnah Brew, I think in maybe. First Mishnah Brew, even if the fire is hotter, it doesn't matter. Mutter. Okay. So by say, so says Rosh Hashanah, that case you agree is mutter. I mean, that case is totally tiny, but like that Rosh Hashanah wasn't discussed. That's mutter. So says Rosh Hashanah, if that case is mutter, so then my case is the same case as Rosh Hashanah. Mali, if the fire goes off, or Mali if the fire goes off when I'm not holding it and it's on the fire, and Mali if fire goes off and I'm holding it. Those are the words in Rosh Hashanah. Now, what does Rosh Hashanah mean? What does he mean? I'll tell you the Mali v'Mali. In this case over here, so then it's there's a daita lachzor. What does he mean, B'chal? Mashenki, when it's on the fire, what does he mean? The fire went off and there's no daita lachzor. So it means what? So the way I explained it yesterday, it means because my das, I put my das in there and it's there sitting there. So my das is there. Right? But it's such a pashut, it's sushtel, right? It sounded to me like Rosh Hashanah was saying maybe another svar. And then I found in Mincha Shleima like a remes. At first I thought maybe Rosh Hashanah was saying, you know what? This is called like the holding ground svar that we spoke about. Maybe Taka, when I put my cholent onto a fire, and even if the fire goes off, but you see that I want it to be, and then I realized the holding ground, but it's not, it's even more than a holding ground. It's even more. And you know what? Rosh Hashanah sounds like that. Rosh Hashanah sounds like that in the Mincha Shleima. He says, the whole dinim of Chazara, I'm explaining Rosh Hashanah, I admit to you, it's not so clear, but the whole dinim of Chazara are when the Aleph base is Chazara. There was a siluk from an H. Okay? We keep saying, Mali, if I take the fire away from the food away from the fire, Mali, if I take the fire away from the food, which is what's happening. And Rosh Hashanah says, no. If I take food and I put it on the fire, and then the fire goes out, so then there was no mice of siluk at all. So maybe nothing starts. Maybe I don't need here oida biyada and I don't need daita lachsor. Maybe the other way around. We keep taking on pashit that mali if I take the food away from the fire, mali if I take the fire away from the food. Now, if I take away the fire from the food, fine, that's a ma'aseh siluk. But if God takes it away and there was no ma'aseh siluk done bichlal, so who says bichlal that that's also bichlal? Maybe that doesn't even start the whole entire Isser. If I take food and I put it onto a fire Erev Shabbos, and against my will, the fire goes out. So clapping my action, is there a ma'aseh of a siluk bichlal over here? Who says you need a daita lachsor over here? Maybe the pshat is I was minded on the eish, and there was no. What's the whole Mexican mavashal? The ganze Mexican mavashal is that you're taking it from karka, or you're taking it from that type of matzav, and you're putting it onto fire. It looks like he's cooking. If anybody's going to come and see this case, and they'll see, the barbecue coals went out, and they'll see that he went and he put it onto another fire. So they're going to see like he's starting up the cooking process again. And like he's taking it from a karka, you see clear that he's not starting something new. Obviously, we're talking where the food hot. Obviously, we're talking where the food is previously cooked and whatever. So we're trying to figure out now, does it look like he's starting fresh? No, it doesn't. It doesn't look like he's starting fresh. It looks like that barbecue went out, and it looks like he's not starting fresh. That's what I understood as a svara b'shleim zalman. Granted, that svara won't help us for the case of where he took off the pot by mistake. With that case, that we have the other svara, right? This is for the case of the nichba eish svaras, right? Does everybody understand what I'm svaring? Does everybody understand? All my TV watchers, you understand? Surely you understand what I'm saying. The whole different star over here, right? There's a whole different svara. What? What's going to come again? No, by Toys we have the other svaras. No, that's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily an extension now. The fee this, it's a whole new svara. It could be that it doesn't make too much sense to say a moed v'chazor in a case of where the fire goes out. I have das. Where's the das? By Toyas, maybe Rishon Zaman Grada sounds like he agrees with that svara. Rishon Zaman, sorry. Okay, by Toyas, he Grada says it's mutter. But I'm just saying, but the new svara we're saying now wouldn't help us. He has other svaras. He has all this. Basically, Rishon Zaman knows all the svaras. Right? No, what's the nafkamina? I'm sorry, Rabbi Cooper, just one moment. What's the nafkamina? The nafkamina is there's one case which is so extreme, and I saw most achrayim are against this case. And that's the case of where I forgot to turn on the hot plate on Erev Shabbos. I put the hot food, a lot of people do this. They take the food, they put it on the stove for one last minute, they take it, and then they put it onto the hot plate, right? Now, if they didn't make it hot, it doesn't start. Lo matchil, right? You took it from a fridge, they accidentally took it from a fridge and they accidentally put it onto a cold hot plate and nothing happened. That's karka. The same malasot. Then I can't, we can't, you can't take love and build a rocket ship to the moon. I mean, there's nothing you can do. All the lumdis in the world is not going to help you over here, right? But if I took it from the oven, which is a very common case, and then I put it onto the hot plate, and I forgot to plug it in, right? Whatever the case is, right? So that case, most achrayim say no way. Most achrayim say no way. This is mamish no way. What do you have over here? You put it there with. First of all, you don't have the ran. You don't have the ran. So most achrayim are very angry about this, right? And second of all, you put it to a place which there's no, how could you say that his das is amoid v'chazor? He didn't put it onto karka for all intents and purposes. Rosh Hashanah is going on this case, and Rosh Hashanah says, this case is mutter. He says, why? Now, I'm going to give a mashal. Rosh Hashanah doesn't give this mashal. There might be a reason why. But I'm going to give a mashal to explain. Rabbi say, can I ask you a question? I take every Erev Shabbos, I take the food, listen to how I do it, okay? I take the food and I put it onto the hot plate. Let's get this right. I put it onto the hot plate and 1 second. I put it onto the hot plate and then I plug it in. No, 1 second. I wanted to give you a good marshal. I'm a note. I'll say it like this. Forget the marshal. If I take on Friday night, I'll say it like this. Very simple. If I take something from an oven on Friday night, and what is the normal thing that I do? I don't take it and put it straight onto a hot plate, right? That's on. I take it, I put it on the hot plate, and then I plug it in. Okay. That's obviously not a problem, right? Because now when Shabbos is going to come in, so the hot plate is going to be on and it's on the fire and everything is niflad mud. So Rosh Hashanah is saying, so if I didn't plug it in So what? So let's say I didn't plug it in. So now what? What did I do? I took the food, I put it onto a hot plate, and I didn't plug it in. So what? I put it on karka? Not on karka. It's putting it onto the hot plate. I just forgot to plug it in. Right? No, nobody cares in which order he does it, that he must plug it in first and then put the food on. Right? So if it's right, over here, what happened? He just forgot to turn on the hot plate. So do I need here oide biyada? Why should I need oide biyada? Right? I didn't put it on the karka b'chlal. Why should I need datil lachzer? It was never placed on the karka b'chlal. That's what Shlomo Zalman says. It's chedusha. Right? I took it from one place, okay, and I didn't put it onto karka. Wait, so, but what's the issue here? What's new? I'm holding in the, you know what, Rabbi said, should I explain it to you? I'm in the middle of turning on the hot plate. It's just that on Shabbos, I'm not allowed to turn on hot plates, right? But no, let me explain. Let me ask a question. Let me ask it like this. One second, Rabbi, let me ask it like this. When the person on Friday afternoon, listen to me closely. On Friday afternoon, it could be a nafkamina, I'm afraid to say nafkamina. When a person on Friday afternoon takes food out of the oven and puts it onto the hot plate, okay? I have a kasha in Lumdis. Before he plugs it in, did he just put it on the karka? My kasha. And now when he puts on the fire, he's lifting it and putting it onto the fire? That's how you look at it. I don't know if that's true. Oh, wait. He's looking at it, going B'Shalem Zaman, that when I take food out of the oven, and I put it onto a hot plate, I'm in the middle right now of, I'm not in the middle of putting it onto the karka. I'm in the middle of just making sure that it cooks. So what am I doing? I don't know if that's a safsel. That's not a safsel. Is that a safsel? And then when I plug it in, I turn the safsel into fire. Not sure. What? What? No, but you don't have das. Why is this das? So he's going to tell you it's not called das. What? So Rabbi Zinker, he wants to say, I don't know if Shlomo Zalman say that. But Rabbi Shiur, should I tell Rabbi Shiur says, I had a tzaddik, I'll tell you why I don't want to say it in a minute. This is why it's coming out fuki. No, but it's easier. If you say it like Rabbi Shiur, it's easier. Rabbi Shiur says, listen, Rabbi say, again, my mashal. When I take the food from the oven, that's how you got this, from the evil mashal, right? When you take the food from the oven, and you put it on the hot plate, and you plan on doing it like this. This is how I do it probably every Shabbos, right? I probably take the food from the oven, and then I plug it in. That's probably how people forget, right? So then he takes the food, he puts it on. Now, when he's putting it on, you say that that's not called a fire because it's not a fire, okay? So what are you calling it? You're calling it a meat of a safsel. Now, one moment. You're calling it something. It's not karka. You agree it's not karka. Now, until he plans on plugging it in. What does it mean he plans on plugging it in? That's called daitai to plug in. Right? That's called daitai to plug in. You should be arrested. It's daitai lachzor. It's daitai lachzor. If he you get me so upset. Right? You ever see me this angry? Ever? It's good to be back, no? Right? If he plans on plugging it in, that's why the mashal is very important. If he plans on taking it, putting it on the hot plate, it goes slowly in the process now. If you had a lamdin and he was uptighting, what's going on when this person takes the food out of the oven and puts it onto the hot plate and then plugs it in? What's going on is he's taking it, he's putting it not on the floor, so it's not karka. I don't think it's biyadai, but it's not karka. We'll call it maybe meat of a safsel, okay? And then he's going to plug it in. Did he plan on plugging it in? Yes. So what happens until he plugs it in? That's called his daitoi to plug it in. So that's daitoi lachzor. So it's daitoi lachzor and then meat and a safsel. So who cares about that? And then he forgot. Say it. So what? But if he had a daitoi lachzor, he just forgot. Oh, so that's the only shayla. That's why this part is a chiddush, because it could be that once it becomes illegal. So then maybe now that there's a cut, there's a nituk of the daitoi lachzor, and you can't call it anymore daitoi lachzor. That's why I'm assuming Shlomo Zalman sounded like he wasn't even going that it's a mitzvah the daitoi lachzor. He sounded like he's going with the concept that I didn't do any chazar. There's no chazar over here. He sounds like he's coming to say that I'm taking food, I put it onto its place, didn't put the fire over there. So there's no need for biyadai. There's no need for that. He's still in the mid-process. He didn't yet put it in a place where it requires a din chazar. It's as if Rosh Hashanah is looking at it, that Rabbi say, just like you understand, let's say the fire goes down a little bit, right? But it's still hot. It's still hot. So now do you need the Tnai Chazar if you want to put it onto a hotter fire? Avadana. It's still on a fire. So Shalom Zalman is being chadish that even if it's not still on a fire, doesn't matter, it's still on a fire. But as long as you didn't do something yet that requires the Tnaim of Chazar. It's a chiddush. I don't know. Pause. Come again? Yeah, okay, but practically probably not, because it's not the Metzias that anybody, you can't consider that das to be a das. It's like the Gatl das. No. Well, first of all, it could be that calls man it's not hot. We'll see soon. It could be that once it's not hot anymore, so then the Mishabrua has a mashmoyas, is a chazanish like this. Actually, is a Ramosh like this. Excuse me, is a Ramosh like this. That once it's not hot, then that's already a nituk. Okay, maybe here for sure we can hear that. Sorry. Yeah. Why?
Because then, at the very least, when I put it down on a hot plate that's off, I'm das that I'm continuing in the chazar process. And even if you would say you cut off your das inside the positive das, that positive das of putting it down is so immediate.
Say that when I put my das, yeah, but maybe once the das becomes illegal, maybe it's like tefillah. He's saying it's at least like tefillah. It's at least like tefillah. Okay, this is the svar. Is Rabbi saying? This is a huge fight. I saw the Ber Moshe, the Debretziner. I'm just saying all the svaras today, and then we'll add it up. The Debretziner, he wants to say a different svar. He says that this is like Oida B'Yadai. Okay, that's svar that I told you maybe your Shlomo Zalman says what? He's not going in the case of, he's going in Nichba Eish. I just want to bring out the svar. He Taka says that svar, that it's considered like an Oida B'Yadai. Mali Oida B'Yadai. But it's the same logic, Rabbi said. When I'm holding something and my das is to put it back on a fire, so then that's considered that we don't see it as a new startup. So he's saying, so then Rabbi said, if we could say on top of a challah pot, it's Oida B'Yadai, Kal V'Chomer, when it's in the place where the fire was supposed to be, that it's considered an Oida B'Yadai. He wants to say that it never got to the karka. It never got to the karka. So once it never got to the karka, so then we could be mekel, right? Imagine, Rabbi said, I'm holding a challah, and taka, I don't have das to be, so what's the psak halacha? We know the psak halacha. I'm holding a challah, and I don't have das to put it back. So the halacha is we're mekel with the other. Right? If I'm holding a challenge and I don't have to put it back, but it's to be it didn't get to the karka, so they're make up with the other. So he says, so it's the same logic. He's trying to say it's the same idea. The pshat is that we're dining it's a daita lachser. He says, fine, don't call it daita lachser. Don't call it, it's not daita lachser, okay? But it never got to the karka. So if it never got to the karka, so then there's what to play with. I hear enough that there's a market to say, there's just one moment, that it is a level maybe of a daita lachser, maybe there's a level of a daita biyadai. It's so halacha l'maisa. Let me say the halacha first. So let's go one by one through all the cases. In the chicken soup, let's go one by one. Now that you have all the svaras, let's l'maisa. Chicken soup case is like this. If he did it to you, then the case is that Rabbi, somebody was a good Samaritan. Was a good Samaritan, and he went to take off the challah for you. He went to take off, and I think even in the case of where you sent him, okay, you made him a shlich. Listen closely. I sent Rabbi Lieberman into the kitchen. Do me a favor, bring in the challah, bring in the chicken soup, and he brings by mistake the challah. So on that, we're going to say first of all, l'skune shedartich v'lo lavusi. So you're not my shliach. You're not my shliach. No, because if you'd be my shliach, so then we would say you gave over your ability for your das. But that I didn't give you rishus to do that. So you had no rishus to take that path. So you're no different than the person who's doing it in anger or against the yeshiva rules or whatever. So now in that case, what will you tell him? You tell him go straight back and put it back on. No shiloh. Oh, okay. You also have the ran and whatever. But there's no shiloh in that case. We're mekel. No shiloh because that case we have as far as Eina the moiser davar shein shaloi, and therefore we could be mekel. And Rabbi Kiveger was mekel based on that. That's the bir halacha. So that case is easy. Case number one. Case number two is that if taka you take off the wrong pot, the balabasta takes off the wrong pot. Okay, so now Rav Yashiv says you don't have Rabbi Kiveger. Rabbi Yashiv says you don't have Rabbi Kiveger because the mice in this case it's your das is fighting against your das. You can't have your das fighting against your das. In this case, you don't have the svara of biyodai. I mean, it's biyodai mamish. You're holding it in your hand. I'm saying, but you don't have the svara of the Debretziner because it's a karka. You don't have the svara of Shlomo Zalman that it never starts. The only svaras you have over here is saif. If let's go like this. If you put it on the kitchen on the living room table, it says mamish karka, put it on the living room table, right? You yourself took out the cholent and you put it on the living room table. So here we really don't have that many svaras. It's karka. It's for sure it's karka, right? And it's very difficult to say that svara a moed v'chazor over here. Very schwer. I don't hear that. In this case, the only thing you have is the Ran. So will we be makel b'diavad on the Ran? It depends on the tzarech. Probably the Zimah can be makel, whatever. But just realize what you're being makel on. The only thing you have over here in this case is the Ran. Case number 2. Case number 3, if you never plugged in the hot plate, you don't have the Ran. You don't have the Ran. So can I be makel? Again, why am I saying it like this? Because in the case we just said a minute ago. So I would say, in the case of the cholent, if a person's able to go and put it on an upside down pan or something, to do that. If you have a goy, do that. If you have a cotton, do that. In this case also, the next case. And b'diavad, you can be makel, because like you had the Ran in that case. The case you never plugged in the hot plate. In this case, for sure, if you have a goy, you have a cotton, use the goy to cotton. If not, if someone's going to ask me, Lamaisa, I don't have a guy, I don't have a cotton, I forgot to plug in. What am I going to tell him? I'm going to ask him one question. What am I going to ask him? What am I going to ask him? What am I going to ask him? Did you take it out of the fridge? Because if you took it out of the fridge, it doesn't start. If you took it out of the fridge and put it onto the hot plate, game over. Okay? So he's going to tell me, no, I took it out of the oven. So what am I going to ask him? I'm going to ask him, is it hot? Because we might have visual issues over here if it's a challenge, right? I'm going to ask him, it's got to be at least, how hot does it have to be? How hot does it have to, it has to be fully cooked. And how hot does it have to be? How hot? Lightness down to the gamma. It has to be like nice and warm. We'll say it like that. It's got to be nice and warm. It doesn't have to be boiling, right? It would have to be. If he's a Sephardi, right? Checkmate, right? Check Sephardi, right? Check Chacham, right? Why? Because if it's by Sephardi, if it's not, it's got to be mamish boiling. It's got to be Yatzaletis by, right? And who knows what Yatzaletis by is? There we have to be machmir. Maybe it's got to be Yatzaletis by 170 degrees, right? So hazit. The Sephardi know what I mean. Hazit. That's what you do. So that's case number 3. Come again? If it's still boiling, Yatzaletis by. I know boiling, but Yatzaletis by. It's got to be first Sephardi. It has to be Yatzaletis by. For Ashkenazi, it has to be very warm. We'll say it like that, nice and warm, not very nice and warm. What? So then, if he doesn't have a cotton and he doesn't have a guy and he's crying, right, because it's cholent. Let's say it's a yard site, Shiur ben Moshe or something like that, then I'll be makel. It's a yard site. What? Shamzam. Yeah, yard site. Right, makel. Right, another case. Now, there's a Moshe about this, but it's very hard to read. Bring the Moshe. Rabbi Sam, where's the Moshe? Moshe? What's going on? Right? It's hard to read Moshe. Moshe is makel in some kind of a case. It's just hard to know what case Moshe is being makel on. No, Moshe? What? Dalet, chelik dalet. Yeah, there's Ramosha. It's just hard to know what exactly is being made on. Right. By the way, thank you so much. Rosh Zalman is in Ha'ora Ayin Hey, where he discusses that when you're noita, you took it off b'toyis. I just want to know where the ma'amekayimos of these things are. So Ayin Daled, there's a Ramosha. I mean, Ramosha. First of all, I'm not going to tell you. Rabbi Bergman told me that Ramosha in Sivkot and Lamed Tes. I'm going to quote you now, Lamed Ches. But in Sivkot and Lamed Tes, he talks about mamish the case of you're allowed to turn off the gas when the gas is coming out, and he says basically what he said. He said the only possible answer is muksa. The gam is sakana and sar. So he says therefore it's mutter, and if you could do it with a shinoi. It's hard to know exactly what's going on over here. I think I know what Ramosha means. Should I explain to you what Ramosha means? Sorry, what's Ramosha mean? I told you a Gavaldik Svara, right? It's a klishim lacht al yeser. So it's a klishim lacht al yeser, and it's a tzarech of the makim. So what's Ramosha getting all nervous about? He has to say it's mutter because chshas sakana, like muksa b'makim sakana, or muksa b'makim tsar. Ramosha saying maybe do it with a shinoi. What's Ramosha about it? No, I left the shver the other day, right? I realized that it's pashut. It's pashut. There's a migu diskatzai. Everybody say if the fire was on Ben Hashmashes, right? During Ben Hashmashes, the entire Ben Hashmashes, was he allowed to monkey with that what's it called? No, because then he'd be over on kibui or he'd be over on havara. So therefore, migu that he wasn't allowed to move that item, the whole Ben Hashmashes, because it was a muksa machnas iser. So then now, even though that level of muksa has fallen off, and all it is the klish machnas iser, but migu just because Ben Hashmashes is also the whole shot nice, no? That's what Moshe means. And Moshe is nice. I'm nice. I'm saying Moshe is nice. No, sorry. Yeah, for sure. Why not? Yeah. Okay, it's a shtickle fight. I'm saying, but the Mishbura, when it comes to, you've got in Samach Ches over there, and Simon Ches, you've got in Samach Gimel. Sorry, Samach Gimel. Where he talks about about the laundry, the wet laundry, and things like that. What? Come again? That's what Moshe says. Moshe says muksa is mutter to move b'makim tzakana b'makim tzar, but it's better to do with a shinoi. That's Moshe. Okay, that's the Kallus. It's not a second. But Lamed Ches says Moshe. Kids, you're allowed to do it, and but do it with a shinoi. Says Moshe. Says not like me. I said it's mutter because I'm wrong. I'm incorrect because it was taka mikul katzai. Unless it went off during Ben Hashmashis. It went off Ben Hashmashis. Then for Shteitz, Moshe would agree. Now, Sukkot Lamed Ches, Moshe seems to have our shayla. It's hard to read. Tavshel mavoshel called Sarchai. There was a cooked food on the fire, and then the fire went out. V'nitztanin el shadayin cham ksas. So he's talking to an Ashkenazi because for Sephardi it's game over. Because once it's already not yet saledis by, it's game over. So he's talking to an Ashkenazi that the food is still hot, and therefore you don't have a problem of this cholent, that it's a problem of real bishul. Okay, it's not a problem of real bishul. So he says, but the fire went out. Hayim mutter to go and put it onto a different kira of grufa ketuma. Okay, a different fire, which is garfa katim. Can I go? But no, case. Began hayim esh chilik bein if it's kavsa the eish b'Shabbos, the kavsa before Shabbos. So we know already the answer. Of course, there's a difference if it happened before Shabbos and on Shabbos. If it happened on Shabbos, you have the ran, right? If it happened before Shabbos, so then you don't have the ran. Says Ramosha, yesh lahatir. He says why yesh lahatir. The dummy he seems to be going on both cases, even on the case of where the fire went out to Erev Shabbos. Okay, the dummy medis al blech the tanner sheniach b'makim rochik ksas. He says, you know what this is like? This is like when you have a blech and you put it on the part of the blech which is far away from the blech. Shemuter lamida, you're allowed to take it and put it. It's on one part of the blech right now, which is hot, but not boiling. So you're allowed to take it and put it on the place which is hotter. Right? B'makim yoyserchem k'shadayin ksas shurei lachlei. Aval hu davka k'shenichba me'ela val yedei siba. Aval im kabu b'chavana b'erev Shabbos aser. Dabadlu b'kavana the Shiur Rishayna. Very hard with Moshe. I got to uplearn this with Moshe. Moshe is saying that that I don't know. Moshe is saying, let's say on erev Shabbos, I accidentally turned off one of the fires. We'll go to the second part of Moshe. Let's say I accidentally turned off. You have like two fires on a let's say like this. I could think of a case, not crazy. Let's say you have two knobs and you just checked that one of them was off, and you checked the wrong one. You don't leave on all the burners, you leave on only one of the burners, right? And Erev Shabbos, you made sure the other burner was off. So what'd you do? You turned off the knob. So Erev Shabbos, you turned off the knob, right? So Moshe sounds like in that case, you were mevatel the kavana. I'm not even sure. The habitlu b'kavana Shiur Rishayna. Not sure. That's if it happened on its own. But if you did it, this Moshe is hard. I have to learn this Moshe properly. This Moshe is very hard. Moshe seems to be saying like a new svar why it's mutter. I don't know what svar this is, clapping what we spoke about. Moshe is saying over here that just like if I take, what's this connection to the case of a blech? What? What does Moshe mean? He means because since I put it into the place of the fire, he means that what? The blech is still hot? Is that what he's talking about? If he means the blech, maybe Moshe just means the blech is still hot. But I don't think the blech is still hot. If the food got all the way warm, then the blech is not hot. So what does Moshe mean? I can't figure out Moshe. What? That's clear. Rabbi said, let's say you chopped everything that we're talking about today and the blech is still boiling hot. The blech is still yatz lesbo. So then fly into action because that still has a shame of an age probably, right? That's a pashut actually, because maybe it's called garf. No, but garf's okay. No, that's okay. I don't know. This Rabbi is very difficult. This much is very difficult. Yes, very much is very difficult. It's very difficult. I don't know what to do. We didn't do anything today. Oh my goodness. This is the least we ever did this year. I don't know what happened today. What? Well, should I tell you what I think Ramesh is saying? That's such a difficult Ramesh. Ramesh says, Yesh lahatir, the dummy zeh, the fire went out. This is like being on a blech, sheniach b'makim rochik ksas, that it's mutter to put it on a hotter part. Why is our case like a holding ground? So why does it mean? Why is this case like a holding ground? What? And the Ramesh himself in the other tshuva in Samach Aleph said that that's not a svara. You can't take it from an oven, Ramesh says, and put it on the part of the blech which isn't hot. It doesn't stand. It's Mamash Pella is Ramesh. Yeah, Pella? Ramesh is a Pella. I don't know. Like that. Ramesh is saying something. I think Ramesh is saying over here that if you have food and you put it on a hot plate or a blech or whatever, and the blech went out, and Ramesh is being mako without the ran over here. He says in first. He says if you put food on the blech and the blech went out, so Ramesh says that such a case, Rabbi says like a holding ground. It's just a strange thing. It's not. It's a strange thing. Well, Davka never been able to see. The only thing I could think of is what Ramesh means is that that it's mutter on Shabbos to take it and put it into a holding ground. K'may kain, if like that type of svara that we said before, that if I take the food, Mali, if I take the food, just like we said the whole mashal before. Right? This is what gave me a little bit of the hergish of the mashal. When I take food and I put it onto the hot plate and I didn't plug it in yet. So Ramesh is saying over here, it's better. I actually plugged it in. Elamite went out. This is so difficult. This Ramesh. I don't know. That's Ramesh is very schwer. It's a tough day. All right, I have 5 minutes. I know. Tzarchin. Tzarchin. Was? That even on a kedera, the what? Because all on the way. Could be, okay. Remember what? I mean, he's going with that side of the chakir that you need to be misalik. It's a little bit hard because that's all as far as in das, but karka is karka, right? He says, "Why? You can put it on the karka itself." It's not like that first. That can't be. Where does he say it? In Milch Shleima? No, I never said it. No, it's impossible. That's not the Mishabura. Also not the Magen Avraham. No, Chalila. No, that's that you can't say. No. But Rabbi said the mice like this. I have 6 minutes. What should I do? This never happened before in the history of the Shiur. But it's at least clear what we spoke about because it would be chaval if we spent the whole Shiur which is ever clear. I feel bad. You came out of you escaped and snuck out from the Zionists for this. It was worth it. It was worth it. It was worth it. Yeah? Okay. So Rabbi said, let me be Messiah with unrelated. Okay, unrelated. 3 things I want to say. Unrelated. Number 1 is that Lamaisa. Somebody asked me like this. He told me he has a super shviger. We spoke about. Mutter b'makim shviger. He has a super shviger. She's like a shviger squared. She's a shviger. She's a shviger. She's a shviger. Right? So he said she does the evil mahalach. But what's the evil mahalach? She takes this is unrelated. Right? She takes the food from the fridge. She takes the potato kugel every Friday afternoon, and she puts it onto the chicken soup pot and then puts it down. That's what she does, right? And she knows he's learning Bishul now. And if he doesn't eat the potato kugel, oy vavoy. And she knows that the shiur that went up on Tyranny Time was called, this is what the person told me. It's called, right, Mutter b'makim shviger. And she's very interested to know what that shiur is about. And so he knows something's going on, okay? So now he wants to know, can he eat the kugel? I said, this case, mamish can't be makel on. It can't be makel on. It's mamish. There's no way in the world you can make on this case, right? It's mamish geferlich. You're taking out from the fridge, putting it on. You basically did. Rabbi said, could you do this on Shabbos? So there's no difference there of Shabbos. Could you take it out of the fridge, put it on Shabbos to the cholent pot and say, woo, now she's hot, and then put her down onto the hot plate? Just a moment. What? Doesn't matter. I mean, hot plate and blech by us are equal. I mean, we'll see. So he wants to know, what can I do? Makim shviger. So Maisa, it's not, there's no makim mitzad hilchos chazara to be makel. Mitzad hilchos chazara, she's doing an isser. Because if she says to you, take off the chicken soup and go and put the potato kugel onto the hot plate, right? So you have to act stupid. Some people it's very hard, but some people it's not so hard. You say, which one? What's the potato kugel? You say like, migu. Message, I don't know, do something, get out of it, because you can't take the potato kugel and put it onto the hot plate. No, that's chas v'chalila. But if let's say she does it, could you eat the potato kugel? Avadi can eat the potato kugel. Why not? It's mithamik v'raloi. It's a potato kugel that's not going to be an overnight kugel. They have to put stuff into the overnight kugel to make it overnight. It doesn't just sit, otherwise it dries out. So it's just, what are we talking about? What do they do this on generally? Generally, they do this on the kugels. So the kugels are generally mithamik v'raloi. And it's already hot. So then, even though it's usher to do the Maisa Chazara, but the Knas of Ilchas Shabbos is only if you have either that it became Mitzvah V'Yafalai, or that it went from cold to hot. Now, that's in fact that it's on top of the hot plate, it's already hot. By the time it gets to your plate, it's as hot as it was on top of the cholent pot, right? On top of the, so you wait 2 minutes till you get back to that matziv, which is probably nice and hot and not boiling or whatever, which is anyways what a person. So there's no big problem over here with the Geveret Shviger, right? Shvigeritis is not such a problem. It's not such a problem. That's number one. Is that clear? If it's not clear, I'll repeat it. Is that clear? That's clear. That's number one. Number two is that the Agav, that Mishabur, I said that you go from one kira, even if it's hotter, that's Mishabur, Sivkot and Samach base. That's Sivkot and Samach base. Number two is, just one more thing, is that the Ramah, at the end of the Sif over here, the Ramah says that, it's at the Lashon, the Ramah says a Lashon, that if the Ramosha has a tshuva about this Ramah also, in Aleph Tzaridal, the truth is they bring Ramosha, but it's a version of the Ramah. That the Ramah says that if the food is able to get the Lashon of the Ramah, the Ramah says, if the food, you're allowed to put food in a place where the food can't get to Yatzaledis by. Right? Could you read me the Ramah? I don't have it in front of me. What was it? Read the Ramah? What? Ramah? Sorry? At the end of the Ramah. Mm-hmm. To be Saimech, even some of the day, if it can't get to Yatzaledis by, what's his Lashon? Just read it. What? Are you reading the same place? What? Here. It says Ramosha, that you see over here, if you put the food in a place where it won't get to Yatzaledis by, okay? What's the lashon of the Mishabura? Where was it? Sivkot and Samach Zayin. I do need Mishabura. What the Mishabura says? He says, if you put the food, when what? When the food won't get to Yatzaledis by, what's the lashon of Mishabura? Shakededa will get to Yatzaledis by. Rabbi say, you got to test this out on your. This is a great heter. It's a great heter. If you want to take food, I don't mean liquidy food. No, even liquidy food. Sorry, even liquidy food because it won't cook. Even liquidy food. If you want to take any food and put it onto the part of your blech which doesn't get to Yatzaledis by, meaning the blech gets to Yatzaledis by. If you put your finger there, it's going to hurt. But if you want to put food there and the food won't get to Yatzaledis by, so then that's mutter on Shabbos. That's mutter. It's a great heter. What? Yeah, once part of the food will get the Yatzaledis by, so then first of all it's a liquid you have because there is hefsher and whatever, and then it's usher, and then it's not usher. Why am I telling you this? No, God, I don't know. I saw the Orchos Shabbos. I don't understand what happened over here. What's this about? The Orchos Shabbos has a shaila. What? What's this chaz? Why is it limit chaz? It's mutter gomer. That's not part of the limit chaz. But the Orchos Shabbos says, what if you have a small pot? That the small pot would get to Yatzaledis by, but the big pot wouldn't get to Yatzaledis by. Okay, so you're allowed to put the big pot, but the kasha is the tayas. The kasha is the tayas. The Mishabur says mefurish. The place itself is Yatzaledis by. Mishabur says mefurish. What's the lashon Mishabur? I think it's mefurish Mishabur. No, what's the lashon Mishabur? He says you put the pot into a place where the kedera won't get Yatzaledis. Of course, we look at the kedera itself. Of course, this is a great heter. So it's late. I didn't realize how late. Tell you, maybe it's late. We'll have to start tomorrow. I don't know what happened. That's Hashem.